5:21 is the time. It's 6:35. Astro launch is what you'll hear here, and not me. So about 5:30, I'm sorry, we will cease talking. And tomorrow it's the same deal. The Astros playing the Indians. So debate number one of the huge Democratic field last night. This is in Detroit, and then tonight is number two. Tonight's the one with the debate with the former vice president and Kamala Harris, who's getting picked at big time. I'm making a big assumption here that our guest, Dr. Nathaniel Cogley, will be watching the debate. He teaches at Tarleton State University, but it's not clear to me if he is in Stephenville or in Fort Worth. Thank you. He's also the new head of the Department of Government, Legal Studies, and Philosophy at Tarleton. Thank you very much for being with us. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Davis. Thanks for having me. I'm in Stephenville, and I'm probably going to get the kids to sleep and then watch the debate.
You mean the kids don't want to watch? I can't believe that.
They want to jump on me while I'm watching because they're pretty young, so I just prefer to get them to bed.
Does that make you spill your drink? Look, that's a waste of good scotch, dear. All right, not funny. So I thought the debate last night was not particularly funny either. I was really mad at the constant interrupting each other, talking over the host from CNN. Not a criticism, really, because they want to get in the fight. But it seems to me that before we get to the meat of it, that the way this thing is set up is not good.
Well, I think you have some experience doing debates.
Yes.
You know, it's hard to process 20 candidates, and of course they're doing their best. It was sometimes a short response, so the people would be trying to finish their point, and the hosts would try to cut them off. But it's there's this balance between trying to get everyone included versus trying to focus on the people who have more viable campaigns. So it's a tough balancing act to pull off.
Do you share the view, or do you have the view that former El Paso Congressman, almost Texas Senator Beto ORourke, that was his swan song last night?
Yeah, I think he had a fine, debate performance. He was articulate and he was able to get his points. He's just not in Texas anymore. And when he was running for Senate, he offered the Democratic Party something. He offered them the chance to pick up a Senate seat. And so he got all sorts of love and support from Democrats nationwide. Yeah. And then right now, he just offers them nothing. They're going to have a Democratic nominee for president, whether it's him or someone else. And his resume as a former representative is not relatively strong to the field. So he's just in a totally different environment than he was the last time we saw him, when he was largely supported by the party. Yeah. Right now he's coming under lots of friendly fire, and it's a very tough competition for him to try to win.
I confess that I heard this and I yelled at my wife. He just doesn't sound like a president. Now, how many people vote, do you think, or is there survey research, vote because that person looks like a president? And it could be a woman. I mean, I always thought Margaret Thatcher she'd pull the trigger. But how many people vote on that or vote on issue positions?
Well, I think it all matters. The optics matter. The positions matter. There's the famous Nixon-Kennedy debate back when television started, where radio listeners thought Nixon won, but TV viewers thought Kennedy won. So I think some of that really matters. And I don't know if Beto ORourke is looking like a president, but there's some other young people on stage, Pete Buttigieg and others. But optics do matter, but it's not the whole story.
Do you have a winner? How do you pick a winner when you have all these people? How do you have a winner? Unless there's 9 people screw up and the other person does real good.
Well, there's lots of winners because a lot of them are up to different things, and there's different things you can win. So I think who won the book selling contest is Marianne Williamson, right? So she's getting paid now. Books. Yeah, she's got a dozen books on spirituality and stuff, and now she has this great platform, and some people liked her, what she was saying. I'm sure she won the book-selling competition. The Raise Your Public Profile competition, that's, once again, Pete Buttigieg. This is a mayor out of South Bend, Indiana, not a big profile, but here he is. All of a sudden, my mom in San Francisco knows about him and likes him. So it's like he is really raising his political profile, and I don't think he's going to be the nominee or the president, but he's going to continue to be a name in politics in the Democratic Party. He had a good night. Who's closer to being the nominee of the party? I think Elizabeth Warren had another good night for her. She is 70, and age is not directly the factor, but it can affect someone's performance. And she continues to come off as articulate. She's an academic. She handles herself in debates. She's fiery. And I think she had another good night. She's also third in the polls. She's doing really good. But I don't think she's a good matchup against Trump. I mean, Trump would love to run against someone on the far left, right? So who actually won that a little step closer to the presidency? That's going to be Governor Steve Bullock out of Montana. And I know he's less than 1%, but he just joined in. This is probably the Democrats' best matchup against President Trump, and he waited to get in. He just finally got on the debate. There's some nice press coverage of his performance. He presented himself as someone with governing experience who's electable and likable. So I think he had a good night in terms of maybe taking a step towards the presidency. And then who just won a debate, like logical argumentation? And I'm sitting there going, yeah, I agree with that. Probably John Delaney had a really good night. He's around 0%. He got a lot of time, and he had a lot of back and forth with Sanders and Warren on stage, and he was relatively articulate.
But those guys, I agree. I thought Delaney, who actually campaigned here, he came down, I think, at the end of last year and was in the local newspaper, but I don't know what good he did for himself. And then Ryan, and Delaney made money in the healthcare business. Ryan represents a working class union district, and I just don't see them guys I don't see those guys getting they're not as exciting as Bernie. And maybe I'm listening to I just don't see
right.
it.
I'm saying, he won the logical, deductive debate, but he's not a step closer to the nomination or the presidency. And Elizabeth Warren took a step towards the nomination, but in my humble opinion, not towards the presidency. And the Democrats are really going to have to be careful. I mean, who's attractive to the 40 million Democrats that will participate in their primary cycle is not necessarily who's attractive to the 140 million who will vote in the general. And Trump would love the Democrats to pick a left-wing activist member of the party.
Dr. Nathaniel Cogley teaches at Tarleton State University in Stephenville. I have, in fact, been in Stephenville because the guy was trying to sell me the weekly newspaper there. Proof there is divine intervention, since I don't own it now. But what happens tonight, you think, with Joe Biden? And a friend just emailed me that it's not Kamala. I don't forget how it's pronounced, but he said it's Kamala Harris, not Kamala Harris. Okay.
Well, I've been saying it wrong then, right?
Well, I don't know that he's right, but all the talking people or the people in the know supposed to think she's the real deal, and she gigged Biden last time, but Biden's the one who everyone thinks was the best to go up against Trump because they feed out of the same trough. What do you think?
Biden has the great name recognition, being a two-term vice president and number one in the polls. I've never been big on his campaign. He's run for president twice before. It always ends after one state at 1% in the polls. It never goes well. And I think age has gotten to him a little bit. So it's not the age as a number, but age as it affects your energy and mannerisms. And so the way these primaries work is whoever is number one in the poll has a big target on their back. And so Biden's at number one. He's taken up a lot of these poll numbers and donations and this kind of momentum thing, and he's going to be the target. And so we're going to see he did not have a great performance last time, and so he's going to try to steady the ship and recorrect. But it's not just Kamala Harris that's going to be coming after him. There'll be others too.
Everybody.
And he's going to be under friendly fire tonight, and I don't know that he's going to be able to handle himself. He didn't rise to the vice presidency on his own. Obama handpicked him, and Obama probably could have picked a lot of people. So it's not his great presidential campaigning is the reason he's on this platform. He got picked by Obama, and here he is, and now he's on his own.
Well, I think the most stunning thing is that you've said you're going to get your children in bed. I never could do that.
We aim for 9 o'clock, but that never happens.
That's right. Well, thank you very much, Dr. Cogley. We appreciate it. Perhaps we'll give you a call tomorrow to see how it all came out. We'll let that day bring its own agenda to us. But I know where you'll be tonight. I know where I'll be tonight. Thank you very much for being with us this afternoon on 710 KURV, The Drive Home. That's Dr. Nathaniel Cogley at Tarleton State. 5:31 is the time, and I think that's it for us. It's time for Astro Launch, so stand by for that.